What's up, everyone? Welcome to Baseball 4 Podcast here. Gus Rico, episode 47. Excuse our voice. We're a little beat up from yesterday's episode. I think we've done it back to back twice. That's pretty cool to do it back to back. We might take a week off next week, just giving you guys a heads up. Just kidding. All right, we're going to get straight into it. We shout out to everyone out there that we always shout out. College baseball is starting this weekend, regionals.
Hmm.
So if you guys want to watch some good baseball, go ahead and shout out to uh, Ella Parker. She had a walk off game one yesterday against Tennessee. That
I
was
know.
that was pretty dope. Her brother plays for the Braves baseball academy, so that was pretty cool to see. Texted mom and dad late night when I got home. So congratulations to you guys. Hopefully you guys keep doing it. Uh, yeah, episode 47. Go figure. Look at us where we're at. Thank you guys for all the support. But to my left, Andy Lira.
Yeah. Welcome back to episode 47. Back to back. It's one of the things we like to do. We can line them up be perfectly, and then we do take the week off next week. Just know that we'll be putting stuff out there, content out there where you guys can look at things again and go back and recap on certain episodes. But yeah, if you guys are watching this and all that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button. That helps us out. It's all free. Majority of our viewers are non-subscribers, so go ahead and subscribe. Get us up there. We're trying to get to 300 and then eventually get to where we want to get to. But thank you guys again for checking it out. But nonetheless, man, it's going to be another great episode here. It's one of my favorites, I would like to say, is because it takes a lot for tournaments to get started and to happen, and can be able to pick someone's brain of that with one of the top guys in California, or what we say, the top guy for California for
In the
you,
nation.
for you, Trip, and all that. So we're excited to have him out here. We're excited to talk to him. But nonetheless, Jeremy Huffman, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on today, guys.
It's about time.
Yeah, it's been a year in the making. I ran out of excuses to not free up my schedule today.
Oh, you're a very busy guy. Hey, look, we're running late. It's kind of like your tournaments.
Oh, that's the wrong tournament.
He said
No,
that's the wrong tournament.
no, yeah, no name dropping today. No, man, thanks for doing this. It takes a lot from for us to do this, and obviously our guests, and we get some good feedback, some positive feedback, the negative feedback, whatever it is. But we brought you on, because we like you, and because you do a great job out there. You really do. And for these kids, parents, for coaches. So I mean, one thing I want to get out the way, you and I have a pretty good relationship. We go way back, and I mean the stuff you do for our program, it's phenomenal, and I just want to thank you for that, man. It's been a blessing, working with you.
I appreciate you guys have supported me for a long time when I started in this business, kind of not knowing what I was doing 13, 14 years ago, running some fundraisers into running some 300 team tournaments now. So it's kind of changed a little bit from the start to now where we're at.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Shoot, man. Let's dive into it, man. We want to see how you ended up where you're at now, man. Like, give us a little, rundown of where you started, until where you are now, man.
Yeah, it started by accident, honestly. I was on a board of a little league back in 2006, 2007, somewhere around that time. And the president resigned abruptly, like 2 weeks before the league was having their big fundraiser 25 team tournament. And I got thrown into the fire basically in, I think, 2007 or 2008 running that tournament. 25 teams took me about 7 hours to schedule 25 teams. And went from that to my son's team going to Cooperstown, wanted to raise some money. So we did a couple fundraisers, and a couple coaches said, "Hey, you're pretty good at this. You do it a lot better than some of these other guys. Why don't you look at doing it more seriously?" And I started messing around, doing a couple small tournaments here and there, and got hired by a local organization, Extreme Diamond Sports, back in the day. And during that time frame, we started getting a little bit bigger and started hurting USSSA in Southern California. So I got a call from their CEO basically telling me he was flying me to Florida, and he was going to basically get me to switch organizations, which I had no clue what I was walking into back in 2015 when I walked into his office, and I told him my story, and he offered me a job on the spot. And 10 years later, here we are running tournaments that are a lot bigger than we ever anticipated running.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I remember the extreme days. Extreme Diamonds work, man. That
That's
was.
when that was when I ran off schedule. That's when you could say I definitely ran off behind schedule a little bit here and there.
I mean, talk about what is a normal. Obviously, we know the difference between a 2 day and a 3 day tournament. We're not even going to dive into the IWS. We'll dive into that a little later. But shout out to those guys too, man. Down south, Enrique, Anthony, and Rob. Those guys do a great job. You guys all work together. You know, what does I mean, you go from a Memorial Weekend this past weekend, and then you're already working on your Sunday league. You're already working on the next weekend in June and even July. You just text me about an hour ago. I got to get you those teams. But how do you stay on top of this?
Um, Honestly, it's a lot of work. I mean, I have a lot of help with Megan, who's my admin, and she does a lot of stuff behind the scenes that nobody sees. I mean, I think because you interact with her quite a bit. But I mean, she maintains the list. About a little over a year ago, my sister got sick, and I kind of fell off the face of the earth for a couple of weeks, and she kept it afloat, and it kind of just built her into a heavier role within it. But like honestly, the times have changed a lot from when we first started to where we're at now. Back when I started, you'd see an email from me every week, every other week, pushing our tournaments. Now it's our website gets
Yeah.
500 to 1,000 hits a day. I mean, I put a new tournament up and I have 50 teams sign up within like 36, 48 hours. It's kind of crazy. I mean, I don't really have to advertise anymore. It's just
Yeah.
I put a tournament up, and it feels. I mean, we have good quality baseball. We have real baseball fields, so teams want to play. So a regular tournament, it's we start advertising it 2, 3, 4 months out sometimes, and we'll get 100 teams pretty quickly. But a Memorial Day type tournament like we just had, I started advertising that in February on the website, and it's been the biggest tournament in California for the last few years. It's the first year we clipped 300 teams in it. I really started working heavily back at the beginning of May on that one. I had my confirmation date a lot earlier than normal. Just I spent about 9 days working on schedules for 3 or 4 hours a time, just because it's a beast scheduling 300 teams. I call it a big giant game of Tetris because I do everything by hand.
Wow.
Um, Try to accommodate all these teams. Time requests, as you know, for Memorial Day. Gus and me have a long-standing history that his Birmingham team tends to be in the CIF championship game at Dodger Stadium most weekends on Memorial Day, or most years on Memorial Day. And so,
Yeah.
if you looked at the schedules, you can tell which schedules were done before his game on Tuesday versus which schedules were done after his game on Tuesday, because lots of teams played that 8 o'clock game on Saturday.
Yeah, it's almost like it became a normal thing for the last, I want to say probably whatever years, I don't know, 8 to 10 years, and we're really superstitious when it comes to this. So I don't want to change anything up. I don't want to send one of the teams to down south or different organizations that during Memorial Weekend. So that one gets established right away, and you know, I even apologized to my I apologized to my parents on Saturday morning. They looked at me like 8 a.m. game, and some of these parents are coming from, you from afar, and I'm like, hey, look, we were supposed to, you
There's
know,
a backstory on
there's
it.
a backstory on this, and we
Yeah.
failed, but I apologize. But no, man, that is, shout out to Megan, man. She does an amazing job, and she communicates well, and that's the thing with us. It's like if you can communicate and build this relationship, I mean, we have a pretty good relationship with everybody when it comes to every director out there, and we try to leave it open, but we have our ups and downs and our disagreements, obviously, but it's I find myself calling people and apologizing sometimes,
Uh,
but
we're used to that between you and me. I mean, obviously, Gus didn't like an umpire situation Saturday morning. He let me know how bad my umpires were. And 45 minutes later, he called back, said all's good again in the world. So it's just, I mean, it's those are the kind of relationships. I mean, with a lot of teams, I mean, I consider a lot of the coaches my friends. A lot of these coaches have been playing with me for 10, 12 years and have seen this grow. I don't consider them just coaches. They're guys I have friends, like check up on their families, stuff like that, just because we've been doing this so long together. We've grown together. We've seen a lot happen together. So it's we start small and we're all big now. It's pretty cool to see where we've all gotten.
yeah,
Yeah, I want to get into the like you just mentioned the umpires, right? More of in the sense of like when you first started with going and now that it's grown so much, how much has that changed for you to be able to get umpires? And I know you it's probably hard to get, especially when you have a big tournament like a Memorial one where you have to get a bunch of umpires. You kind of like you don't know if they're gonna be good ones or if you do. How does that come into effect where it's like you want to make sure you have quality umpires out there and all that? And how
Yeah,
difficult is it to schedule them when you have a bunch of games or tournaments?
it's crazy because when I first started doing this for a fundraiser for the Little League, I mean, we gave the umpires a cheeseburger. That was how they got paid. They didn't make any money. They literally worked for free. Um, but I've Manny Mejia has been with me for. He used to run his own tournaments and just went full fledged in the tournament umpire sign. And he's been with me for 13 years doing that. He was my first guy, and now we're up to we had 5 assigners this last weekend, so there was 1,400 umpire slots that had to be filled.
Yeah.
They filled 1,360 of them. So there was about 41 mans that weren't on the 6U age group that we had this past weekend, which still 40 more. We want to have 2 men on every game, but it's considering how many slots they all had to fill. It was a lot of slots to fill, but we've changed the way we do umpires quite a bit because we don't want just anybody that can come out there and call balls and strikes. So most of the assigners, if not all of them, are sending these guys to clinics. I mean, they have to look the part, they have to dress the part. I mean, you're gonna when you have a tournament that size, you're gonna have some that are gonna slip through the cracks that aren't gonna necessarily meet our standards in terms of how they umpire and whatnot. But I mean, we want them if they look good and they hustle, even if they get a call wrong, they're less likely to get a coach on them because hey, they're out there, they look professional, they're acting professional. So
Yeah.
when they don't act professional, it gets kind of tricky for us. But I mean, we run 3 to 4 camps a year for these guys to all go to, and their pay depends on going to these camps. They go to these clinics, they get better, they get a higher tier pay. So we kind of incentivize them to try to get themselves better. So I mean, it's crazy because we've lost in the last 10 years, I've lost 7, 8 guys to the minor leagues to become professional umpires. So every year we seem to lose one guy to the minors. So it's a good and bad problem. These are guys that started umpiring with us when they were 17, 18 year olds, and now they're in the minor leagues umpiring, trying to make to the bigs as an umpire. Just so it's kind of cool when you see that side of it. Just 'cause we've seen so many players that played out here that have made it to the minors and big leagues. Now we're starting to see it on the umpire side too. So
Things out here, my boy is a tournament director developing umpires to go big leagues too. Look at that. You know what I
Developing umpires and telling coaches like, "Hey, relax, it's gonna be all right."
mean? Yeah. We're like that might have been the one that slipped through the crack, but don't worry, we got a good 90 of them over here on the
I
side.
mean, we'll own it. That's the one thing you guys know. If there's somebody that doesn't meet the standard like we try to have, we'll own it. I mean, it's gonna happen from time to time. There's guys that are gonna say things, do things that are stupid, and at the end of the day, my job is to make sure and make it all right because at the end of the day, they work for me and coaches are my customers, and I need to have everybody happy with each other at the end of the day. So Gus
Yeah.
can attest to that. That I'll make guys when they do something wrong. I'll circle the wagons and make us figure it out so it's not having issues going forward.
Yeah, no, for sure. Going back to the umpires, it's so I think it's so important. I think to some of us, it's everything in the sense of like if I'm pulling up to West Hills, parking lot, and then I see an umpire that we know from the high school level, and they're obviously changing out in the parking lot, and it starts there. It's like, hey, your first impression, like, good morning, blah blah blah. Oh, what game do you have? I'm on the Bronco field, whatever field. I'm on the Colt field. I'm like, okay, cool. It's gonna be good. But then you have your umpires that you don't have a relationship, or they don't want a relationship with you. They're just there to work, call balls and strikes, outs, and whatever. But I think that's important as well. It's the way, obviously, us coaches, sometimes we try to establish the intimidation sometimes right away, and it's like, hopefully it works, and if it doesn't, then damn, all right, well, I tried. But going back to that, it's huge. It's huge on how they carry themselves, we carry ourselves, and the kids, and most importantly, our parents in the stands. And I'm sure you hear every single. Yeah, go ahead, dive into
Yeah, I
that.
mean that's changed. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be disagreements with parents and umpires. It's just part of the game. Unfortunately, it's that dynamic. I think everybody noticed changed a little bit after COVID, where people were more blatant to yell at umpires. That's why there became a huge umpire shortage for a while
Yeah,
there. But I mean, more guys came back. I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, sometimes it's self-induced by the umpires, and sometimes just everybody sees it better. And with the game has changed even from 10 years ago to where it's at now with every game changer camera and every camera on the screen. You look on a backstop, there's 5, 6 cameras recording everything. So everybody wants to send it to New York for me to reverse a call, which we don't have. We don't have his play in this. I mean, but I mean,
not yet.
look,
I'm about to say it's probably gonna get there eventually. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna lie.
it'll be there someday when we have those robots calling balls and strikes. I'm sure we'll get to that too.
right.
So, I mean, it's one of those things. It's they're human. That's one of the beauties of baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, that the human air of it is. I mean, you go back to why instant replay got into the big leagues when you got the guy that took away a perfect game by calling the guy
Yeah.
safe when he was out with 26 outs. I mean, it's the human air part of the game is with the umpires is both beautiful and frustrating at the same time. But I mean, sometimes umpires have the best angles. Sometimes parents have better angles. Sometimes parents think they have better angles than the umpire when the umpire's right behind it. And
Yeah.
sometimes strike zones are going to vary from umpire to umpire, even from pitcher to pitcher and by the score. I mean, it
Yeah.
shouldn't, but that's just how the game works, unfortunately. And so it's that dynamic. I mean, we do a good job of policing it. I mean, there's going to be moments where coaches and parents aren't happy, but they call us over to the field and you know, we try to fix it and try to make it right whenever we can. We want to eliminate the error that issues with parents and umpires just because it's easier for us and it's easier for you.
For sure.
Has there ever been a moment where like people don't know the rules in the sense of like your umpires or stuff like that, where it's like, no, this is the because I know a lot of umpires go from different ages and there's different rules for them. Has there ever been a moment where an umpire like kind of like didn't realize that rule for it and the coach let them know?
The big time in
How
high
would you
school,
guys deal with that, or is it like because I know sometimes it can get ugly on that end and people like umpires don't like to be seen as in like you're showing them up in that way because like you're messing with their intelligence in a sense. But then if it, the rule is the rule, then how would you go about that?
the big ones, the high school rules to the travel ball because we follow major league rules, not high school rules, and there's a few discrepancies like a balk. In high school, the balk's a dead ball on the spot. In Major League Baseball, and with us, a balk is a delayed dead ball. So that one happens a lot. But I mean, there's been times where I blew a call a couple of years ago when it got brought to me on a home run. It hit the yellow and popped back into the field. Um, and uh, we called it a home run still when it should have been a live ball. So it's and a mom, I think it was actually on one of your guys' teams, actually brought me the rule book and showed me where I was wrong, and I was like 100%. I called and verified it. I mean, I was 100% wrong on it. It was one of those things that I thought it hit the yellow, it was over, and it wasn't. So I mean, if we mess up, we want to try to get it right. Obviously, it's we're not going to always be perfect and get it right, but we want to try to get it right as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I think that, and then there's always ways that we love to tell our guys, especially around our coaching staff and all that, is umpires are gonna make mistakes. If you're gonna go do that, do it respectfully. Don't do it as in like it makes it because I know some umpires get real emotional when you try to feel like you're attacking their intelligence, or like to me. So that's why I always try to go by our way, and we always let them know. Because there is gonna be a moment when you're wrong and all that, and I think I've had moments where umpires after the game let me know, and I'm just like, you know what? They're like, we messed up on this. You are correct. Like we shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, you know what? It's you know, the game is the game, but I appreciate you letting me know that. So now we know for the next one we can it probably won't happen again or not. But I think those moments are needed as much as like our egos are gonna get hit. That oh my gosh, I should have known that. Longest it's verified that you know what either I'm right or you're wrong or you're right and I'm wrong, whatever it is. As long as that's handled, I think that goes a long way.
I mean, we try to avoid the who's right, who's wrong. We just want to get it right. I mean, obviously, you hope that one call doesn't dictate the entire game. I mean, there's so many plays in the game where it usually doesn't dictate, but I mean, sometimes a missed call or an incorrect rule can affect the game in a drastic way. So,
I
I
think
mean,
it's important for the coaches to know the rules. I mean,
Yeah.
and even some parents too. But I mean, I think it's really important. I mean, I called you over the weekend, like, what's the what are the pitching rules? And I'm like, I mean, I was locked in, but I was so pretty zoned out from the Birmingham
It's because
loss,
you
and
weren't you're not used to
I
being there
I
on
wasn't used
Saturday.
to. I'm used to being there, but not feeling well, and under certain circumstances. But I was like, "Hey, what are the pitching rules here?" He's like, "Oh, you told me about them." So, I appreciate you answering calls, and it's not easy for you, to do what you do, man, and your staff.
yeah, I mean, you look at a work weekend like this last weekend where there's 300 teams, and it's 300 teams doesn't necessarily 300 coaches, but we try to send as much communication out, and we try to communicate directly with coaches for that reason. Because if every team on that had one parent call me, that's an additional 300 people reaching out to me or stuff like that. Or, I mean, when I look at the number of there was 37, 300 kids that played last weekend in that tournament. So, I mean, if every parent on that team had a question for me instead of going through their coach coming directly to me, I mean, it's just a lot to take in that regard. That's why we try to direct everything through the coaches, and the coaches funnel it down to their parents, so that way it's just easier for us. And I have one point of communication.
You should just set up a booth at Bob Kildee with a complaint, and then for every question, it's $10. That'd be a great fundraiser.
Good idea.
Like, hey, you have a question, you want to complain about something, it's going to be $10. Okay, go ahead.
And if you want
Oh,
the
like
answer,
a
20.
you know how you go and it's like a bad word or something you have to put
Yeah.
in the jar.
And if I'm right, okay, I take your money. If you're right, you get your money back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Oh,
one. That's a
well, it's like
good.
a protest then. Let's
It's
just
like
make
a
it
pro.
100 bucks.
It's like a
Let's just make it
protest.
But
$100 protest fee
it's like
then.
a $5 to $10 process instead of a
You
hundred
would have
dollars.
parents
I'd
that
rather have
and
the $100 protest fee the same. We'll do it for $100.
Parents would pay that one just to make sure they get the voice heard on that one. They
for
were like,
sure, for sure, man.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
what? How soon do you prepare for a tournament like last weekend? I mean,
I mean, for Memorial Day, because of the size of it, I work on it for a month. I mean, that ended at 7 something on Monday night. I woke up Tuesday completely brain fried, and
yeah,
I decided that I wanted to get Sunday League done. So on Tuesday morning, I knocked out the Sunday League schedule and got that out on Tuesday midday just because I wanted to be done with it. And I'm leaving town early next week. So I have a tournament next weekend, 110, 120 teams, somewhere in that range. And
yeah, something small.
I just knocked all the templates out for that right now. So that way, it's once the team's finished confirming, I'm good to go there.
Did you get my request?
No,
Megan did.
it's too early for you to set your request.
I mean, but you can't just wing it in the sense of like, oh, Memorial Weekend, 700 teams, cool. Hey, go play. Hey, here's the schedule. Like, it's got to be obviously game requests and who Manny takes care of the umpires, and I'm sure you're aware of that. And who's going to be at West Hills, who's going to be here. So I mean, how long of that planning does it take for you?
For a big tournament like that, I started figuring out who was going to work about 10, 12 days out, so I could kind of figure out what I needed to find for extra help for field and stuff like that. So I mean, when we're at 4 or 5 parks, it's pretty easy to figure out who's going to go where. But when we have the bigger ones, my set guys kind of historically go to the same parks
Yeah.
each weekend just because the parks are familiar with them. They're familiar with the parks. They know how to handle the issues there. So that's what we try to just keep as much familiarity with that part as possible.
Yeah, that was kind of cool to see the familiar faces. We were at Veterans Park at Field, and your crew there sets up shop, right there, and they were like, "You want a donut?" I was like, "Shh, don't ask me twice." I went around, got a donut for you. I was like,
You want
"Sure."
French fries? I mean, they take that.
I went to Bob Kildee. I said, "Can I get some fries?" Like, Jeremy brought them over. I was like, "Sweet, this is great."
And I told him make sure I get my payment the next morning for the weekend. So
He sure did.
Let's get a little even trade, fair trade.
Yeah, even my dad was tripping out a little bit. He was like, "Man, like he said this has grown from when my son played where the Sammy's Nines were playing. He remembers that parking in the back on that street and going through that little gate and even all that stuff. It's like he was just like amazed on the fact that this is obviously still going. And I told him, I said, I mean, there's so many teams out there now. It's crazy. I mean, obviously, and then now All Stars go. So that's the first tournament of to warm up with you before their All Star season.
yeah, that's kind of the nice part about that tournament. I mean, we consider Memorial Day the kickoff to the summer for tournament play. So my wife and me talk about it. There's only been one Memorial Day since 2005 or six. We haven't been at a baseball field.
Wow.
Wow. How
That's
they
because we weren't allowed to be at a baseball field.
Right.
So, how important is it to try to get quality fields on tournament days, or whether it be baseball on that? Because I'll tell you this right now, that is a big plus to a lot of coaches, to a lot of programs, where it's like if you get the quality of the fields, you're gonna get a lot of the business there to be able to go. Because to us, it's like, especially the older boys, we want them to get a high school level feel. So I think that's pretty important, man. How would you say that is that a big thing for you, or is that like a
That's one of my strengths for sure. I mean, all my fields are real baseball fields versus skinned. I mean, there's a couple of fields that'll have some like the parks that'll have the softball fields on it where we'll put a portable mound, but like our turf fields have portable mounds, but it's still a turf field, and you can have portable mounds so you can move stuff around. But Now, one of the things I pride myself on is that we have all real baseball fields, and that makes a huge difference when teams come up here like, "Hey, we didn't know you had all real fields." It's more fun to play on a real field. I mean, don't get me wrong, going to big league dreams and playing in the stadium replica stuff is fun, and the bar area for the parents is cool, but nothing beats playing on a real baseball field.
For sure. And you guys, I mean, John Deere's drag, all that stuff is not cheap. And all of those that we're talking about, it costs out there. It does. It costs, it's time, and guys that are out there dragging the fields, that raking the field, watering the field, and
I
man,
drug 140 fields this weekend, I think. So from
wow.
Friday to Monday.
Jeez. No, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. And you have groundsmen at every park.
Yeah, I put
Like,
guys in each park to do the fields.
yeah, that's dope because it's always and they do it cause I know some of them do it every other game, like every 2 games or something like
Yeah,
that. I
ours
believe
is
you guys is every game, right?
every game. I mean, you get what you pay for. So I mean, our thing is the field's got to look the part. So we might not always have time to water the whole field, but yeah, every game we're prepping a field. And if they're not, I get a phone call usually pretty quickly telling me your guys didn't prep the fields, and then they get a phone call.
For
So
sure.
they know better than that just because they don't want that phone call.
Yeah, no, and we appreciate that, to be honest. Like we really do. I know we don't really
Well, I mean,
probably hear it much,
There's so
but
many games played, throughout the weekend days, and it's like you don't drag a field, or you drag it every other 2 games, like some people probably do out there. It could really define the wins and losses because you get that bad hop.
talk about it.
It's
Bad
like,
hop, huh?
man, it's like,
Or
man.
if the line's a little crooked, then you know what I'm saying. Now you gotta
That part we can't fix sometimes though.
But I mean, but if it's dragged, and you water it, it makes a big
It
difference.
does. It does. Honestly,
It's a
because it's
different
like,
feel.
yeah, it gives you and then the grass and all that as well is a big part of it too. And I think, but either way, you dragging it and your guys doing all that, man. It does make a big difference whether people believe it or not. It does eliminate the hops not as much, right? And I think that's the biggest thing is to eliminate any bad possibility, whether it be with umpires, the tournament, or scheduling, or even scores nowadays, right? Those things we try to minimize the most of it, and that takes everyone. I think it takes the coaches as well. It takes the program guys to be able to go and hey, make sure we're doing everything correct. And like all the tournaments I've been a part of and all that has been pretty good. Umpires here and there, but I mean for the most part, man, we've always enjoyed your tournaments, and we're gonna keep going, and hopefully everything y'all probably gonna get bigger and bigger, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the Braves is always
What does the
top
future
tier.
hold? What does the future hold for Mr. Jeremy Huffman?
I mean, I want to stay at this for at least another 10, 12 years. I mean,
Mm,
it's fun. I mean,
mm.
at some point, I probably won't be at the field as much regularly. I know you saw last weekend, you went to one park, you saw one of my kids, you went to another park, you saw another one of my kids, you went to a third park, you saw another kid at it. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely a family business. Even the guys that work for me and Megan, a lot of the
Yeah.
guys that for us, their kids work for us. So, I mean, it's kind of it's a big family in that sense where we've worked together for so long. I mean, you don't see a lot of turnover with the guys that work with me. I mean,
Yeah.
when I was Extreme Diamond Sports to where I'm at now with USSSA, I still have the majority of the same crew, and um, a lot of their kids are working. Some of the kids are running parks now for us just because they've been doing it so long and they're good at it.
Yeah. How important is that scorecard?
Very important. It's really important when they put the names correctly on it.
I always just like scribble. I mean, I have bad writing already.
Yeah. Well, to me, I don't look at them as much, but you piss Megan off of that things not filled out correctly because, like last weekend, there were 708 games, so she has to put in 708 scores and all the pitching and whatnot. So if you don't you just put numbers in with no names, how are we going to figure out the pitching? Then you're going to get a phone call from me because she's mad that the information wasn't filled out correctly, and we need to have it correct so that way we can have it as accurate as possible. So that scorecard is our official scorecard, our official lineup, all that stuff. So if there's a player protest, I can go to that card and figure out what's going on. So because they don't always put the names correctly on the lineup card they give you, but on that one they have to put the correct information.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like I said, I have bad writing, so I'm like, you want me to do this while we're playing a game right now?
I always gave it to my team mom or my scorekeeper when I coached.
Yeah,
Makes
I know. Makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
so read
What
it.
would be one thing that you would think Gus would be better on that? Like, would it be like giving us the game before? Like, before the game we start in there, or
Yeah,
like how would it be easier?
yeah. I mean, if we can get that, like, while we're stretching, but sometimes we don't have our lineup set, so it's,
Yeah,
it could be, it could go both ways, right? Because if we would get it like while we're stretching 30 minutes prior to the game, it's like then we don't have the lineup card ready at the plate meeting, then it gets annoying for these umpires or directors. Like, hey, we gave you this card, 30, 45 minutes prior,
yeah,
to your game, and you don't have it ready. Like, it could go both ways. A guy like me, I would be like, hey, I don't know what my lineup looks like yet. You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
But I would say like the
look at that. Tony Harper is texting.
sexy man YouTube right
Oh, Tony.
there.
Shout out to Tony Harper out there, man. Thanks for watching, Tony.
Really? No, that's the
Come back
but
home, Tony.
come back home. But I mean, we're not gonna say there's competition out there or whatever, but I'm sure there's tournaments that work out there together and all that. But how would there ever be like a future where tournament directors just come up and work with one and just make one big old tournament in California or anywhere? Or is that
There's
even
been lots
impossible?
of talks about trying to figure it out. The problem is with all the sanctioning bodies and the companies we work for, it's just it doesn't work. I mean, as much as you like to say it does, I mean, I'm friends with guys that run all the different associations in the area. I talk to them, we talk to each other. We have questions for each other. Hey, how do you want to look at this? How do you deal with that? If there's somebody that we caught doing something with fake names, fake birthdays, stuff like that, we pass the information along. You want to pass it along just because at the end of the day, it's the same sport, and we want to grow our sport, but everybody has different paths and motivation on how they want to grow their sport, and they also report to different people. So at the end of the day, when we're reporting to different governing bodies, we gotta it's tough because there might be a little bit rule that we have one rule a certain way, their rule slightly different. So there's not a perfect world where it ever exists,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
What let's dive into the IWS International World Series, man. That's coming up. I know Enrique and his staff and those guys down south. They do an amazing job, and obviously you're part of it too, man. What does that look like for you guys? I mean, you guys obviously plan ahead. You guys send text messages and emails, and you know,
Yeah, that ends the first week in July, and then Anthony Silva starts working on it. The next year's in August. He starts recruiting
wow.
teams next year. I mean, right away, Anthony really does a good job of getting teams to plan that event. Enrique handles the scheduling piece. I'm more of the kind of a figurehead on that event just because I have a title.
Hmm.
Not necessarily. It's Enrique created that event before he came to USSSA, and he brought it
Hmm.
over with them, and it's grown into I think we had 470 teams last year between baseball and softball. Um, I kind of handle ordering the prizes, paying for all that stuff, making sure the umpires are taken care of. Robert does a great job following up on rosters, making sure that they're legit beforehand. I mean, it's a learning experience. If you even go from where just the last 4 or 5 years with that, where we were at versus where we are now, everything's black and white now. We have a set of rules. We're going to follow the rules to a T just because the second you aren't black and white on that, something's going to come up and it's going to come back and bite us in the butt. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a beast with 440, I think, baseball teams this year and another 70, 80 softball teams. It's going to be a big one.
Oh
So
wow.
it's 3 weeks of,
There it is.
of nonstop work. If there's a logo for it.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. Enrique brought this from it used to be the Sister Fielder World Series.
Yeah, TBL and the Cecil Philly Will. That's where he
Oh
started.
my
So
god.
yeah, Enrique and I, our
I think
journey
you
is
were
kind
still
of
in diapers. Don't worry
so
about it. You were still in diapers, Lira.
So that means you were almost in diapers still.
Yeah, okay. Man, that used to be, yeah. Enrique brought that over from TBL, you said, right?
yeah, we came over together. I mean, we were both worked for different companies back when we first started, and we met each other and we liked each other, but neither of us wanted to leave. We were working with to go work for the other guy. We kind of said, if a world ever aligns itself to work together, let's figure it out. And then USSSA came knocking on my door, and
Yeah.
I called Enrique on the perfect day where he wasn't happy with something that happened over there, and the rest is history. I mean, between the two of us, we're running close to 9,000 teams a year.
Wow.
Jesus.
Last season, we ran close to 9,000 teams
You guys are liked.
Very liked.
for the most part.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's I mean it's just exciting to hear how much is growing out there, especially for the young youth, and having tournament directors like yourself out there. It's always amazing to see because we want tournaments more out there and go, but Um, how would your day of like of a director go where it's is day to day, right? Like where do you normally wake up and be like, okay, I gotta do this, do this, do that, or do you let it happen where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna put off this, put off that, especially if like let's say for the IWS, like how would the day would it be? We're just making phone calls and making sure everything's good, or would you put yourself and prevent yourself there to go and be like, hey guys, I'm here if you need me.
Everybody kind of has their role for each event that we're doing. That they kind of this is what they're going to manage. This is what they're doing, and you master that piece, and you get that piece done, and then you depend on your guys that you're working with to get their piece done. So that way, it's we don't have any issues. I mean, there's with tournaments that size, there's always going to be something that falls through the crack that we don't catch till the last second, and then we got to figure it out quick. But I mean, for the most part, it's just we now that we've been doing it so long, we all kind of know who's covering what part. Like last night, we were on the phone for an hour and a half with our umpire signer for that, going over all the rules for the World Series, making sure everything was lined up so it's passed along to the umpires correctly.
Man,
Yeah, okay.
no wonder you had to make time today. You were like,
Busy man, man.
yeah. He's like,
We're
I gotta-
lucky.
he said,
We are
he
lucky.
said, I have one slot open. I said, I'll take it.
Either you want that or not.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously your kids are all grown now. You know, I mean, I saw them grow up, obviously, and you know, you had your teams back in the days, and you know, you used to coach, and
Damn, you're old, bro.
I know, I know, I know.
Jeremy's young, but you're old.
Yeah, I know.
I'm way older than Gus.
So you would obviously coach. You're coaching Pop Warner football and running tournaments, and I mean, you obviously, you know, how was that back in the days trying to manage coaching wise in a tournament? I mean, Megan did a
that
huge.
that was hard. I mean, that's why when I kind of was done with that, it was life easier. I mean, I'm coaching high school football this year, so
Really?
that's some of my time. Yeah,
High school
back.
football.
It's been a while since I coached high school football, but I'm back coaching high school football again
Oh my
Where at?
God.
Where at? Where at?
over at Oaks. So I missed the
Oh,
competitiveness of coaching. I mean, coaching the youth league was fun. Coaching my daughter in softball in the rec league is fun, but I missed the competitive part of coaching.
man, Jeremy about to let all the anger out on.
Oh my
Hey, all the stuff
gosh.
he goes through on the weekend is about to get let out to these high school
I'm
kids.
about to
Talking
send
about
these payments a
tackle
week
them.
earlier now.
Yeah. So I mean, it's competitive. I mean, we all played sports at some point in our life at some kind of level, and that competitiveness never leaves you. So it's
Damn, that's awesome.
the coaching part of it's fun, but it's different at moments.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. I'm glad. You know, hey, go out there, and go win though. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you go out there and go win it.
That's a
Don't be like Gus this year, okay?
oh my God, that's a full-time gig right there.
Yeah, I'm just an assistant. Makes it a lot easier.
Oh yeah, yeah, we know how that is, man. But man, uh, so yeah, I mean, you even went, you took a couple of teams to Cooperstown. I think you took your, you know,
I've been 3 times. I only coached 1 time, which was nice. I got out of coaching the first 2, but the third one I wanted to see that group through until they got to high school or until they got to Cooperstown, not to high school. Now it's kind of fun to watch all those kids' high school career start.
yeah, that's dope, man.
Yeah, I'll be there next month. Literally in a month. I'll be there next my second year in a row. You know, it's gonna be crazy again, but it's all right. Deal with 12-year-olds for a week.
Go win a couple of games.
No sleep.
You know, literally. I'm trying to. I'm trying to go win
So
it.
I got a
Man.
question. Why the no music?
No music.
Because specific parks, like especially Kildy, have a rule for no music because it's so close to residentials.
That is actually a rule.
Yeah, I get fined if it's played. So like because there's some couple of neighbors that complain for the noise factor of it. So it started there, and then when there's 4 or 5 parks that are within neighborhoods like that, they've just said that we couldn't do it. So I mean, there's a couple parks that don't have rules with it, but it was just easier going across the board because what you turn into is that it's one park gets allowed the first day, and then you go to the other park where it's not allowed. It comes an issue, and then sometimes you'll get it on a field where they're playing it super loud between batters, and the field next to it's in a tense moment, and all of a sudden, when it doesn't go their way, it's that music's fault. Or sometimes some people have edited versions of music, sometimes people don't, and when an unedited version gets played and somebody's not happy about it, I hear about it. So once we had these rules put in by some of the parks where they didn't allow it, it was just easier to go across the board and say, "Hey, no music," because I don't want to have everybody tell, "Oh, I was allowed to do it yesterday," but no. So it's just across the board. It's just easier for us to manage that way.
You know,
So
you know these walk-up songs are everything to these kids.
mhm.
You're like, yeah, but
Time to put their AirPods in.
hey, don't say that. They're gonna do it. They're gonna
we
be
all we all saw, what movie was that? Hardball.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Walking over to his
yeah.
AirPods and you start going.
Oh
You can put your
man,
Walkman on.
how many baseball dozens did you order this past weekend?
I went through 130 dozen baseballs.
Oh my god!
I came home with maybe 125 balls.
Wow.
Yeah, they grow feet. It's pretty cool. They grow feet and walk away.
Oh my god.
I bet you they love hearing your call. Hey, I need some baseball for the. They're probably like, yeah, how much you need? We got you.
I have a garage full still right now. I mean, I bought a bunch of them right when the tariffs were hitting, just because we weren't sure what was going to happen with them. But I mean, on average, I buy probably 1,000, 1,500, 1,500 dozen a year, or not 1,500 dozen. Yeah, I mean, I usually buy 250 dozen to 500 dozen at a time. So I'll uh, I'll probably buy 1,000 to 1,500 dozen just for my events here. Then we order
Plus
about
plus Sunday league,
250,000. Yeah.
plus
So
Sunday league, plus the kids that drop bombs. You
yeah.
know, they get the chain out, they get all that stuff, and with the double barrels, they get
My
all
wife
stuff.
Bomb
loves the garage
squad.
balls.
What's that?
So my wife loves the garage full of boxes of balls.
I bet she's probably like,
What
"This
are we
is a
supposed to do with
story. Yeah,
this?
what are you supposed to do with all this?" But man, that's so it goes back to where we start. Like it's not easy to run a tournament. From planning ahead to schedules to baseballs to the rings to the bomb squad chains to umpires to dragging the fields to hopefully in 3 days everything goes as planned because sometimes the weather can interrupt and man, I mean, you do a pretty good job of keeping up with that as well. I want to shot throw that out there that you are pretty good, and Camarillo obviously they're they have their restrictions, and the last thing we need as coaches is like drive down there and all of a sudden it's like we play 2 innings and the rain comes down. It's like we all knew the rain was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I try to be honest about it because it's more of a pain in the butt for us to have to refund 50 teams or cancel games. Like, I mean, if I know I can play, we're going to play. I mean, the reality is, if the forecast says 100% chance of rain and I can start one game, is it really worth it to start that one game and still piss off 30 teams?
Right.
It's you have to look at the variables. And, I mean, there's been, for the most part, we've been pretty good, and we've had to cancel when the rain's about to hit. I think there was one time we canceled.
Yeah.
The rain was supposed to come at 8 in the morning. It didn't come till 6 at night. We could have probably played one day's worth of baseball. And those shoot and miss. But there's also been times where, hey, it was supposed to rain. We decided we're going to play the tournament, and we got the first day in, and it wasn't supposed to rain. Or it was supposed to rain, it did, and we got the first day in, and then all of a sudden, it came the second day, and when it wasn't supposed to come. So it's like you just never. There's never a crystal ball to tell us how it's going to work. So you just have to kind of go with your gut. Back in the day, I'd always wanted to play, but now that I've been doing it so long,
I,
playing
I
one
was
day,
just gonna ask that.
I mean,
That
it's
comes with experience.
yeah, it comes with it just knowing, like, I mean, we play on a wet field and it thrashes the field and then it's down for 3 weeks. So is that one
Right.
weekend losing it for 3 or 4 weekends? That's kind of what you have to ask yourself now.
See,
So that's great information right
this is
there,
a
man.
veteran right here. This is
Yeah,
a vet.
because why didn't we play
Yeah.
that weekend? We could have.
Yeah.
Well, if you mess up the field now, you wouldn't gonna play the
Jeremy
next three
Huffman
weekends.
still drags fields. Tony Harper, no man. Tony Harper's more of a collar guy. You know what I mean? You heard
Yeah,
that, Tony? Yeah, I'm throwing that out there,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Jeremy Huffman still dragging fields by watering. You know what I mean? Tony
Yep.
Harper is just makes those happen. He makes it happen though.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. He likes to be in the trenches. You know what we call the trenches. Jeremy likes to go in there, make sure everything's good and all that. Because
Yeah.
it's easier to fix if you're doing it yourself.
Well, I mean, it shows that I'm vested. That's the biggest thing. If you see me
Mm.
out there working on fields, I won't ask my guys to do anything I won't do, except for maybe back in the day at Mid Valley, I wouldn't clean the bathrooms. But that's the one thing I wouldn't do. But I
Oh
mean, I wouldn't
man.
ask my guys to do anything on the field that I won't do.
The facilities and all that stuff is so important. I mean, I'm not knocking on anyone out there. It's so hard to keep up with these facilities and bathrooms
Yeah.
and fields and parking.
The snack bar. Don't forget the snack bar. Snack bar's fire
Oh
too,
my
bro.
God,
The
the
snack bar's
snack
huge,
bar,
man.
the snack bar.
The chili cheese fries at heart. Shit.
That's later. Yeah. Well, we're gonna that's our trivia questions for later for Mr. Huffman
The
here.
burritos at West Hills.
Man,
Breakfast sandwiches at West Hills.
Oh yeah, we play at different locations, Sam. We didn't just play at Bob Kildy.
Yeah,
But all that stuff is important to parents, coaches, players. All that. You guys make sure everything runs smooth, and I mean, obviously, it's huge.
definitely is, man. I think presentation is huge, man. And I want to say you guys have done a great job of that, and you guys keep doing that, and you guys keep progressing and keep getting better at that. And I think, I mean, and like you kind of mentioned when it rains and all that, I'm sure it's hard for you guys, right? I mean, it's hard for us because we got to now correct calendars and try to make up these tournaments where they didn't play that weekend, see who's playing next
Oh,
weekend or doing whatever it is. That becomes a headache. So, how much of a
Yeah.
headache is that for you guys? Like, do you guys have to like reschedule things, or you just like, you know what, forget it? It is
Well,
what it is.
it's California. We have stuff scheduled pretty much every weekend. So if it rains, you just like some places you can just move it to another weekend. Here, when it rains, we just lose the event because there's usually something scheduled on the field for the next weekend or the weekends coming up. So it's hard for us to make up a tournament where in the places where it they don't play every weekend, they can make up an event. Where it's us, if we get rain, we can't make it up.
right, man. What about that Elite 32? You heading out there this year?
I'll be out there for the All American games, not during the Elite
Okay.
32. I'll go out there a little later.
Yeah, that Elite 32. It used to be at the ESPN one. Huh? That was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
before we built our complex, so we have that.
I still haven't been to the new complex. What is
Yeah,
it
it's
called? Space Coast?
pretty much
Space?
Space Coast. Yeah,
Yeah.
the old Nationals spring training facility.
Oh wow. Okay.
So they built it out into a full fledged turf complex.
Wow. We
Lots
got
of field, all lit. 8U has its own stadium with a big screen, jumbotron out in the outfield, stuff like that. It's a pretty cool setup.
man.
Dang, hey, you got all that?
Hmm.
Sheesh.
We gotta head over there one of these days
Yeah, we do.
when we get invited.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
were invited.
All right, Jeremy. Well, man, thanks again for doing this. We got to get back to work. We got to email you and all these teams that are going to play for you for the next couple of weeks here. But again, before we come to an end, I just want to say to all your staff from top to bottom, I mean, you guys do an amazing job and keep doing it. You guys are man, like I mean, very class. Like just with the stuff you guys do, from dragging the field to all that good stuff, man. From you putting up with me, and our coaches and all that, and our parents, and whatever. I mean, man, I'm sure you deal with a lot out there. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you. We really do appreciate all the hard work it takes, man. Even though you probably don't hear it often, we really do, man.
All right, here we go. You ready for these questions? The trivia questions. We're
Sure.
gonna hit it.
Hold on. Whoa. You got him with the Gus Frico segment, bro. Holy cow. The Rico Suave, like, oh,
Look
come
at
on, Gus
Lyra,
Rico
man.
segment. There you go. Now,
Lyra, here you
boom.
go.
Now
Lyra,
you can
Lyra's
send
on
him.
fire today. Lyra's
You can
on
send him,
fire.
bro. You can send him,
You're
bro.
on fire today, Lyra. I know. Lyra's on fire
What's
today.
Sam over there talking about, bro?
All right,
I
here
can't
we
hear him.
go. 3-day or 2-day?
2 day.
Yeah, that was good. Okay. Drag or no drag?
Drag.
Water or no water?
Water.
Okay. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Okay. 2-man crew, 1-man crew?
2 man crew.
Stop it. He's thinking about it.
He's like, saves me money
He's like,
if I
wait
go
a minute. It all depends.
what?
Getting yelled at about 1 umpires or 2 umpires. That was the question.
All right, here we go. Best snack bar out there between Hart, West Hills, and Camarillo.
Um, that's a tough one. They all have something different that I like at it.
Okay.
Heart has the crinkle fries, which is
And they
what I like.
call your name on the PA when it's ready.
They do that. West Hills has the best breakfast. As long as I've been doing this, those croissant breakfast sandwiches are. I like to go to work at West Hills once a year just for one of those. And I mean, Camarillo's where I'm at most weekends, so that place takes care of me, and I eat lots of cheeseburgers there.
Oh man, you know what? I went to the West Hills snack bar the other day because I kept hearing about when you walk into West Hills, the cult feels right there. So there's no business going to the snack bar or whatever that way. And man, that thing is like they got it going there.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, when they have that tri-tip, it sells out so quickly. I mean, they do it right, and they I mean they have options galore.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
said they have a whole like restaurant menu there, bro. Like,
Yeah, I even
for
asked for an energy drink. They're like, nah, we don't have that. But I tried. I was like, you guys have energy drinks here? But no, man, that's pretty cool. But again, thanks again, Jeremy. This was great, man. Hopefully, it shows everyone out there what you know what it takes to run a tournament, what they go through.
Yeah, I think it did. You know, great information, especially what you guys value, what you value as a tournament director, and what really is going to be essential to a great tournament going, and how to handle things when things do go left. I think that's great information, man. And who knows? You never know. One person might be listening that one day want to be in your position, and you let them know how to do that. And so, thank you again. Thank you guys, everyone, for checking us out, listening. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like button, share it. We want to get and grow and do all that, just like Jeremy did and growing on his thing. We want to make sure we grow over here as well, man. We really appreciate you contributing to that, and hope you have a great rest of your day as well
Appreciate it,
with
Jeremy.
everybody else, man. We out.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right.